Hello guys, and welcome to our first video in series on how to create a simple Ruby on Rails web application. In this series I'll be building a simple blog application where users can sign in and sign out. They also can create new posts, and we will add authorization so only authorized users can edit, update or delete posts. So let's begin. So the first thing I would like to show you is what versions I'm using, and if you would like to get the same setup I use, I will link the videos in description so you can follow the tutorials, and basically they will show you everything you need to know how to set up your computer for Rails environment. So now what I'm going to do is just create a CD onto my desktop and create new Rails project. So Rails new blog tutorial, and I'll be using iTerm instead of the default terminal and a Tom ID. Let's cd into blog tutorial, and I open new tab, and I will use this tab to run Rails server. So cd into blog tutorial, and we can open our project in IDE. Let's close this one. Okay, so now Rails generated an application, and the first thing we need to do is to run bundle install to install all the gems. Now we can start Rails server, and yay, we're on Rails. So now that we have our server up and running, let's initialize Git repository. Git add dot git commit initial commit. At this point you may use Bitbucket or GitHub. I will use GitHub and create a new repository, and repository name simple blog tutorial. I will leave description empty, choose public, and create repository. Now, because we already created the Rails application, we just need these two lines. I'm going to copy and paste it. Okay, so now if we refresh this page, yes, we can see our application on GitHub. Okay, let's go back to localhost, and I think now we should add some additional gems we will use. So we'll be using, let's go to Ruby gems. We'll be using Bootstrap gem, Bootstrap, and I will be using this version, not the alpha, the new one. So just click copy to clipboard. Let's paste this here, and I will also add Haml. Haml just speeds up the development process, and it's used instead of embedded Ruby. So now again we need to, we add the gems, so we need to run bundle install to install the new gems, and we also need to restart the server. So to stop the server, click Ctrl C, and again Rails server, or Rails S for short. Everything works okay. So Now let's create a new branch. So if we make a mistake, we could just go back to a master branch and redo everything again. So we type git checkout b and let's call it posts. Rails, sorry, first git checkout master. As you can see, it shows that these two files have been modified, so we need to commit the changes. So we can check by typing git status and git add dot git commit add bootstrap and haml gems. So now if we check out git checkout posts, git status, okay. So let's generate Rails post controller. So we type Rails g or generate controller posts. Okay, so as you can see, it generated some files for us. And if we go to app controllers, here you can see post controller. And we also, let's go to config routes and edit this file. So we can delete this comment. I will type root post this means post controller and index action. So if we refresh the page, we should get an error. And yes, the action index could not be found in post controller. So let's define it. Let's go to post controller and define index action. Now again, we get an error. Post controller index is missing a template for this request. So what we need to do is just create a so-called view, and we go to app views, a post. At this moment it's empty, so we just create index.html.haml. And the main difference between haml and RB, just in haml you could type something like this, link to sample and link, but in embedded Ruby we would have to do this. I think this saves us a lot of much time, and instead of writing HTML like this, just something in haml, you just type this something. So that's why I'll be using haml. So let's add just default text, something like welcome to index page. And as you can see, we didn't get there, but Bootstrap gem isn't working at the moment, and we should fix that. So if we go to Ruby gems, Bootstrap, and homepage, we should add these two lines to our application.scss. So go to app assets style sheets, and we must rename this file to SCSS, or else it won't work. Let's save it, and also we need to add these two lines in our JavaScript's application.js. I will add it below jQuery, but we don't need two jQuery, so I will delete this one. Now it should work. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see, the font has changed. That's what we wanted. So now we can go and to our routes, and in using Sublime Text or our modern IDEs, we could go like this and find a file, or we just use shortcuts. So in Sublime Text and Atom, I click Command P and just type routes, and I will type resources posts, and what this one line does is creates all the routes that we need for our posts to work. And we can check the routes typing Rails routes. As you can see, the root route post index, the first line, and this line generated all these routes. So if we commented at out and run Rails routes, we should only get one route. But we need those routes, so I'll uncomment, and let's go to again to post controller, and let's define new action. But for our actions to work, we actually need to create a post model, because we need to work with database. We need somewhere to store the information. So let's create generate model post, and our post will have a title, which will be a string, and a body, which will be text. So in our db migrate, we Rails generated a file with a timestamp, and this basically does create posts and create table posts and add a title column and a body column. But this actually doesn't execute it into a database level yet. We need to write Rails db migrate, and now the changes will apply to a database. And if you made a mistake, for example, if I wanted to change something right here, you would write Rails db rollback, and this rollbacks with the database to the previous version. But since everything is okay, I'm gonna run Rails db migrate, and now we can work with our post controller. So we create a instance variable post, which will be post.new. Now if we refresh and go to post/new, get an error that a template is missing for this request. So again, let's go to posts and create a new.html.haml. Create a post. Let's see how it works. Okay, but to the new action just renders this page, but to actually create a post, we need to define a create action, def create, and post equals post.new. And at this point, Rails needs us to use the save parameters for security reasons. So let's go back down here and define a private method, def post params require post.permit title and body. So this line tells that we only allow post title and body to be entered, so this saves from bad use of our forms. And we call this method right here. So now if post.save, if a post is created, redirect to the post, else enter the new view. Let's refresh, nothing happens. And now we should create a form. And I'll be using again a simple form gem. It simplifies the process of creating a form. So simple form. Let's copy this to our gem file. Oh, where's our bootstrap? That's strange. So git status, git checkout master. Oh, as you can see, we define these two lines only in our master branch, and that's a problem. But now we should check out post, git checkout post, and we should do git add dot git commit. Let's type generate a post controller and post model, and we should git merge master. Okay, so now we are on the post branch and we have gems right here. So now we can finally add a simple form gem. So gem simple form, run bundle install. Let's restart the server and go to our simple form documentation. And we see you need to write this line. I just copy paste it. Okay, so now we can actually create the form. Let's go to posts, new, and type this line, sorry, I'll make it smaller. But instead of user, we must use post, and we'd like to shorten this to just F letter. This could be anything. This could be any letter. But you must use, if we define F, we must use F down here, as you will see shortly. So let's scroll down to the usage, and we need F input, username, password, and submit. Okay, so we need to type f.input for our case title, and f.input body, and also f.input, not input, f.button submit. So if we refresh, illegal nesting contents. Oh, using Hamel nesting is really important. So we can just make it this two spaces, because this means that this one is nested under a h1 tag. So we should use this like this. Now everything should be okay. Yes. Okay, and what happens if we create a post? So for example, sample post, and also I will quickly go to lorem ipsum, copy some filler text, paste it, create post. And the post has been created, but it can't show us, as you can see here. We need to define a show action. So let's go to our post controller and define show action, and this will be post equals post dot find params id. So this is the first post ID, so right here, so it will find the first post. And again, we need to create a simple template. Under posts, create show.html.haml, and let's type h1 post.title, p for paragraph post.body. Let's refresh this page. As you can see, our post has been created, and we can create new post, and this gets ID of 2. We can switch like this, and at this point I'd like to add a simple link down here, and if we click this button it redirects us to a main page. So it's very simple to do. Just go to show and add a small, use Ruben to use link to helper, link to the back roof path. So if we go to post/1, here you can see a link, and if you click it, go back. And also in post/new, let's add a small link, small link to cancel, again roof path. Okay, so at this point we have 1, 2, 3, 4 actions, but what if we created a post like post/1 and we made a spelling mistake, or we don't like the content and we would like to edit it? So we need to create an edit action, div edit, and just like new action, it just only generates the view, but it actually doesn't itself edit the post. So for that we'll need the update action, and in our edit action we just find the post, and now in our update action we find the post and check if post.update post params. This checks if post parameters have been updated. Post params redirect to post, else render edit view. And we could type this right here just like this, it doesn't matter, but personally I would like to use this. So okay, let's go to post1/edit. We need to create a view again. So under posts, new file, edit.html.haml, and we could just copy this and paste it right here, but we'd be repeating ourselves, and that's a bad habit to do. What would be better to define this line somewhere and just include this right here and right here. So for that we use something called partials. So under post we create new file, and partials, first letter is underscore form.html.haml. Let's paste this right here, and this lead I can actually copy this and just type edit a post, and down here just render form, and in our edit action the same, render form. Let's refresh, yes. So now if we go to post1/edit, we can see our post, and if we update it, it's been updated. Edit, just so we can see the actual updates right here. So now let's add a small link right here to edit a post, so we don't have to type this. Under show, edit, post, path, post. So click edit, we can update the post. And if we click cancel, I would like the cancel button to redirect us not to this page but to the post page. So that's really easy to fix. Just not root path but post path and post. So now if we click edit, if we click cancel, we go back right here, but if we click back right here, we go to the index page. Okay, so now it's really inconvenient to type post/1. What we could do is just list all the posts down here and add links. So if we click on the post title, it redirects us to a post. And that's really simple to do. In index action, let's define a posts instance variable, not post but posts, and it equals to post dot all, and let's order this by created at descending. So the newest post will be at the top. And if we go to our index view, we could write something like this. We can delete this and post.each do post. And this minus right here is just this. So post.each do post h1 equals, so it will be h1 link to post.title post. If we refresh the page, it works. So now, for example, if we created a post/new, something like nonsense, and I'd like to delete this post, let's create a delete action. A post controller define def destroy, and this should use again this line, but as you can see, we use this line right here, right here, right here, and right here, and that's bad practice to do. It would be easier again to define it once and use it in all these actions. So let's delete this line from every single action, update, and right here, and define a private method called definePost, and in the top add the before action find post. We call the action right here, and before action runs before any other action is run on the page, and we only need this action only on show action, edit, update, destroy. And check if there are no errors. Okay, and down here just type at post.destroy and redirect to move path. And we don't need a view for destroy action. What we need is to go to show and add a simple link called delete, and we delete post and method delete. And we also add data confirm are you sure. This basically prompts the user a window, just like this. If you click delete, it asks are we sure. If you click yes, the post has been deleted. I don't like this post, so again we can delete this by clicking OK. And now if you go to post/re, there isn't such a post. So what we now have done is we have created the basic post credibility. So we should make changes to our Git. So git add dot git commit am create post credibility. Okay, so now let's go back. But as you can see, posts new, we just could create this empty post, and that's bad. We should add some validations so nobody will be allowed to make empty posts. So if we go to our models, post.rb, it validates title, length, let's add a length minimum 5. So the title will need to be a minimum 5 characters long. So if we try to create empty post, you can see it gives us error. And also for a body, add validates body and just presents true. This just checks so that this box isn't empty. Let's go to post/new title something and add a filler text, create a post. Okay. So we just finished our credibility. We could git status, git add dot git commit, add post validations, and let's check out our main branch. And before we do that, I will show you what this does. So you see here in on our posts branch, we made some changes. If we change back to a master branch, master, where you can see there isn't no model files, no controllers, and to make them appear, we write git merge posts, and as you can see, they appeared. Now we could push this to a GitHub, and at this point it will be good to upload this onto a Heroku server just to check everything works okay. So if it's the first time you're using Heroku, just go to their website, Heroku, and create an account and follow a tutorial and associate your accounted computer, and then you could do something like this. You type Heroku create, and this basically creates a random name for our Heroku project. As you can see, I have already created too many files, so let's delete someone. Settings, delete. Let's delete that. Okay, so now it should allow us to create a file. Yes, creating app. Before you push to Heroku, you need to push to the GitHub So we have already pushed it to GitHub, and now we could type git push Heroku master. This may take a while. And as you can see, we get an error. And that's because we're using SQLite database, which isn't supported on Heroku. So we need to go to a gem file and add. You find the line where it says gem SQLite and copy it and just cut it and go to group development, paste it right here, and we need to create an additional group called group production do and add gem pg because Heroku uses Postgres database. And again, we need to commit changes, git add dot git commit add pg gem, and push this to the GitHub first. Now git push Heroku. Sorry, Heroku. Okay, so it finally deployed it on Heroku, and we just could write Heroku open. And as you can see, Heroku app created our application, but we get an error, and it's easy to fix. We need to migrate the production database. So we write here Heroku run rake db migrate, and it should work all right now. Let's refresh the page. Okay, so now if we go post/new, what's post/new? Oh, okay, so it finally loaded. And sample post, let's add some filler text, create post. Okay, so now it works on development, and you can check this website on your mobile, send a link to friends, and now what we will be adding is a authentication, so only registered users can create posts.